Greetings, Ashen here. Today I'm going to be listing my top 10 indie comics of the decade. Alright, so we're coming up on the roaring 20s, but what were some of the best indie comics that came out over the last 10 years? Let's find out. Oh, before I go into showing you the comics I picked, I want to stress that there is no particular order to these issues. They are all great. I just picked them out to show you what my top 10 were. Alright. So let's begin. The first comic I'll show you is Blood Realm by Robert Geronimo. This is an excellent series. I do regret missing the Indiegogo campaign, but as soon as this came out through Alterna, I was all about it. Now, as you can see here, I got the first issue signed by Robert, and it's first print, so that was really special. I did invest into a bunch of these issues because I enjoyed it so much. Then we have the second one I'm showing you here, which is also first edition. This was the first issue I picked up at Emerald City Comics, and it may not be in the greatest condition, but it has a lot of meaning to me. And that's why I put this letter with it. Now, in the very beginning, Robert Geronimo, to promote his comic, selected some people that were trying to help his series along, and I was one of the 10 or 20 people, I can't remember how many it was, that got this letter. Now, this letter is really cool. I'm not going to break it out right now, but as you can see, there's a wax stamp on it, so that was really cool. And there's an aged letter in here, sort of a role play for the world that the comic series comes from. And he also included a sketch card of one of the characters he created, so that was really cool. Alright, if you're looking for a good indie comic, definitely Blood Realm is one you want to check out. I think we are going on volume 3 currently, but they're all short volumes, so get them while you can. Alright, on to the next comic book. Voidwalker! Yes, I've been looking for this for a long time. I remember seeing some of the promos for this around the time that Can't Kill Cade was also in Indiegogo. And I was very excited for this, and I'm really looking forward to Can't Kill Cade. But, man, this is a good comic book. If you're interested in, like, Ghost Rider or Venom or any of that hard-edged kind of 90s action, this is the comic for you. I absolutely love it, and I was looking forward to this for a very long time before it finally graced the shelves. So I do have a bunch of these, and I do love this series, and I've included some of them in a giveaway I did recently. But if you want to check out a good comic, currently it is just on issue number 1. Go ahead and check out Voidwalker. Next up we have House by the Cemetery. Now, I am a huge Lucio Fulci fan. A lot of people don't know who he is, but he is a horror film director. He is unfortunately passed. He was Italian, and he made some of the greatest, schlockiest horror films that you could ever hope for. And this comic book series definitely honors his memory, really brings everything full circle, and includes it in a bigger story in a way that they have been working together with the Ebon Press comic line. But if you enjoy these horror films, or if you enjoy horror comics, then check this out. The brutality, the art, everything is just great in these comic books. They do sell them for a little bit less. I think this was $6 or $7 without any of the frills. But then they do sell the comic inside of the Ebon sleeve. And you could get it signed or unsigned. And as you can see, it's limited to 300 copies signed. Really cool series, though. Definitely check it out. Bottom feeders, also from Ebon Press. These people make such gold. They really know what a collector wants, and they really produce it and give it out to everyone. This is a great comic book. I managed to get one of the Fan Freak editions. This was the first Fan Freak edition to ever come out. I was number 31 of 50. And yeah, just showing you. It appears from the outside that this is just a simple signature edition, but if I was to open this up, there would be a customized phrase on the inside of it. it would say that this comic is for an asshole because I didn't want it specifically directed at me. And you could say that I am an asshole, I guess. But definitely great. And if you want to get this series, they still have the comics available, just not the Fan Freak edition. And I think the signature edition might be out of it right now, too. But yeah, they do have the comic around. Lone Wolf by Doug Garrett. I've been loving this series for a long time now. Doug is a great guy. He does the Doug cast once a day to once every few days. Sometimes he has to miss some time. I only do a live cast once a week. But this series is great. Came out on time. And there was so much to it. You could get the newsprint version. He was one of the people bringing back newsprint. You could get the color version. And there's so much to it. So here we go. This is the color version. And here we go. I got signed. I got this in a giveaway from Doug because I was promoting his stuff. I do try to promote indie creators as much as I can. And he graced me with a signed copy of Lone Wolf, which I'm very thankful for. It's a great series. It has a lot of legacy to it, and it's definitely going somewhere. We will have Lone Wolf number 2 coming up in the future, and Legends of Lone Wolf is eventually going to be coming out as well. But definitely check this out, the immortal Native American hunting the dead and evils of the world. Interesting concept. It's basic, but it's also very well done. So there you go. This is the newsprint edition. Comes in black and white. The whole book is black and white through and through. And then last but not least, we got the ash can. So there you go. You can actually see the bottom here. Over here you could see the dead are kind of covered up. Definitely a great series though. I believe that you will be able to obtain more of these in the future, or you could talk to Doug. I think he might have some available on his Etsy store. Whatever the case is, Doug Garrett is his name, and I'm sure you could find him on Twitter if you wanted. Oh, Jack Irons. I was really excited for this series. I got issue number 1 and 2, but of course, as always, I'm going to just use issue number 1 as the jumping on point to talk about. This is an interesting series. This is, I think that they were originally thinking about calling this issue 0, but it is indeed issue number 1. And it's a brief getting into the life of this immortal cowboy here who's living in the future, but he's been alive so long that he's just kind of numb to most things. And, trouble always seems to find him. So it's a really interesting series. They do dive into his character a little more in the second issue, but this is probably the best contained story from the series thus far, and I enjoy it. Okay, so we're moving right along. We have Stardust. Yes, Stardust by Nasser Rabadi. I do have both editions signed. I got the one on the left is the second edition, and this is the original over here with Nasser's quote-unquote ugly signature. But no, it's a great series. It is a one-shot, but it does loop around nicely. It's a dark story that ends darkly, and I'm okay with that. I've always been into that kind of horror. It seems to teach you some kind of lesson, but whatever that is open to your own interpretation. Okay. So if you do get a chance to pick up Stardust, I would definitely recommend that. Then we have Jawbreakers. Now, you might be asking, why am I starting with the second book, Jawbreakers God King, huh? Well, they do summarize the first story in here, and frankly, the second Jawbreakers book is superior to the first, in my opinion. The art is next level. It really upgraded a little bit. I love John Malin, don't get me wrong, but the detail in this new art style that we're getting, and the detail in the storytelling, just incredible. Doesn't have quite the same flow as like John Malin art does, but it is excellent in its own standing. And the story itself is also wonderful. A lot of surprise twists and turns. A lot of people die that you think probably wouldn't die. And I am anxious. It makes you anxious to see what they're going to do with Jawbreakers next. All right. Speaking of John Malin, here he is. Graveyard Shift. Still waiting on Volume 2 to come in. I know he's working on that currently. Oh, man, I love this. I love the idea of the Universal monsters being on a sort of like a superhero team. And I think this works out, has that excellent 90s action feel to it. Some of the best work that I've seen from John Malin. And, I'm just really, really excited with this book. It did an excellent job. And I can't say enough good things about it. Gotta love that gold signature at the bottom there. Beautiful. Definitely awesome. I can't wait to get the second volume. I think that keeping the same cover but changing its color was interesting, and then doing the second prints as a sort of a unique cover is a great idea. Great book. That was number 9 of the 10. Okay, so I'm going to have to shift some things around here. And then we're going to number 10. Boom! Oh my goodness. Earthworm Jim. Absolutely love this book. The bang for the buck in here is just incredible. If you invested into this comic book, good for you. This comic's going for like $80 minimum on eBay at the moment. And it's probably worth $80. I don't know how Doug came through and produced such an amazing comic. Not only that, but you get all this too. All this, another comic book and poster and all kinds of stuff. So this, wow, just incredible. I don't expect everyone to have a campaign like Doug's. He seems to be in a bit of a better situation than most people to be able to produce something like this. But as the customer, it is a huge win. Incredible. Okay, well, that's really all I have to say. I do hope you enjoyed my top 10 list for these last 10 years. I enjoy collecting indie comics, and I plan on continuing to do so. Please leave your opinions about all this in the description, in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you have to say about it all. And I do hope you all have a great... Oh, wait a second. If you made it this far, I got to say something real quick. Some people might be asking where Cyberfrog is. Why isn't Cyberfrog in here? Well, frankly, I haven't gotten a chance to read it yet. I'm still waiting on it after all this time. And I got tired of waiting, all this time to make my list. So here we go. This seems like the most opportune opportunity. And this was my list. And if anyone feels bad about that, I'm sorry. But EVS couldn't get the book to me in time. So I haven't gotten a chance to review it or read it or anything, much less recommend it. Well, you all have a great day. Yes.